Hi everybody, Michael Snyder here, Pacific Northwest Weather Chasers. Christmas morning about 8:45 a.m. Checking out our next system developing off Vancouver Island here. It's going to slide down towards western Washington today. You can see Arctic air entrenched all well throughout Canada here and still streaming off the British Columbia coast. And this is what's going to be bringing Oregon its snowfall through Sunday on into Monday morning. Let's go ahead and jump right in. There's some discrepancy going on between the European model and some of the high resolution models. And let's just go ahead and look at that. The European is backed off a tiny bit, but it's still showing pretty good snowfall amounts, Seattle south mainly, and then you can see some variability as you go north of Seattle with some good bands setting up just south of Seattle, maybe Spanaway, the Enumclaw areas. Tacoma gets in on it pretty good. And you can see how Portland is kind of blanked a little bit here on the European model, but it's a little bit different for some of the high resolution models, and we're going to jump into that. We view the European model as one of the top models, but it's at odds here, and we need to pay attention to this. So this is Christmas morning, and you can see these bands moving through. It's probably still mostly just a snow or snow rain mix, but not sticking on the pavement. Seattle south for the most part. You can see that upslope flow snow going there for Port Angeles, and you're probably getting accumulating snow north of Marysville into our southern BC, Victoria. And as we go into Sunday morning, you see that modified Arctic front move down the Puget Sound there. And then we're below freezing all areas here, so anything falling is probably going to be accumulating at this point. You can see still some pretty good bands of moisture moving into western Oregon there too. Washington, Oregon coast could get some accumulations down to sea level. So putting this into motion, you can see the precip continues on into Sunday morning, and then it kind of starts to die off for the Puget Sound, and you can see these bands just still going over the Willamette Valley and Oregon coast, and that's really going to set the stage for potentially some more snowfall down in the southern Willamette Valley, as these bands tend to be more persistent down there. And when you're underneath some of these snowfall bands, they'll drag the snow level or the freezing level down to the surface if you weren't before the band. So you're going to stay below freezing as these showers are overhead. And you can see on into Monday morning, it's still kind of going through the southern Willamette Valley there, and then it tapers off. And then our next system is on the heels of that, but we'll talk about that later. So the NAM, for example, the Puget Sound, Seattle, only showing maybe 1.5, 2 inches of snow. And it looks like the models might be hinting at a little bit of a westerly flow that can kind of suppress precipitation through the Central Sound. The HRRR was showing that a little bit. The Europeans are not showing it near as much. But you can see just south of that where, Shelton, Olympia, Tacoma, and places out in Pierce County there are still looking at some pretty good snowfall totals. And as we put this into motion here, you notice the southern Willamette Valley. You see some of these bands setting up down here? So it's going to be highly variable. You can get snow down to the beaches. But I just wanted to update. The National Weather Service is saying 2 to 7 inches now for the Puget Sound area. They backed off a little bit, but they're still saying 2 to 7, which would still be a disruptive snowfall. Let's look at the surface wind really quickly here. And you can see that it's blasting down through the Fraser River Valley into Port Angeles area here early Sunday morning, and then the northerly start down the Puget Sound. So even with an inch of snow, it's going to be a dry snow. It'll be sticking on the pavement. It'll still be fairly disruptive, especially when you get above 2 inches. You can really shut down Seattle. So, and you can see these bands of, these winds just coming on shore, bringing these bands of moisture into western Oregon. So it's probably going to be wetter snow down here for Oregon, drier for Seattle, but it looks like more precipitation down here for Oregon. So there's the trade-off there. You can see the Canadian regional model, a little bit higher resolution, still has a good 4-inch swath for central Puget Sound there through Tacoma, and then you're at a little bit of lesser amounts, Olympia out towards the coast there. But you can see the coastal range in Oregon getting quite a bit of snow. The Willamette Valley, it kind of gets left out a bit on this also. But again, you can get snowfall down to the beaches in a scenario like this with those convective bands of showers moving on shore. Taking a look at the pressure here, this is the NAM as it goes through the day. You see, this is not an overly dynamic system, so it's tough. These bands of precip are very subtle, and for the central Puget Sound, we're gonna be watching this up through tonight and checking to see if we can get a better beat on this storm. Here's the HER, the same thing. You can see just not a very dynamic low, and it kind of weakens and slides down the Oregon coast there. And you'll notice the UW WRF is not painting a very snowy picture for the Central Sound also, and much snowier for Shelton out towards just north of Highway 12 there, just west of Olympia, and some pretty good bands down towards, Enumclaw, Pierce County, down towards Centralia. So, and if I back this up a little bit, you notice how it shows more, but I'm a little bit skeptical about showing you guys this just because some of this is going to be above freezing on Christmas night. But it still could easily bring a couple inches of snow through the Sound with north winds below freezing. It would be a disruptive snowfall event. So I just wanted to give you guys that quick update. I'll do another weather video tonight when I go to work. I'll be doing a lot of forecasting at work today, and I will try to figure some more things out. You can see how it's down to 35 degrees in my house. I woken up a few times during the night with some gusty winds. We had a 43 mile per hour gust last night. But yeah, so if you guys like these videos, click like and subscribe, and I will see you tonight. Maybe we'll do a live stream if there's enough people around, and I'll talk to you guys on Twitter.